Society is crumbling, criminals run loose, and innocent civilians are victimized. On the west coast of America in the late 2000s, things were somehow even worse. In their time of crisis, the people needed a savior, a real-life superhero. They needed Phoenix Jones.
Are they superheroes or a super problem?
Meet the man who calls himself Phoenix Jones. Almost every night he goes into a bookstore, comes out a superhero, and patrols the mean streets of Linwood.
Phoenix Jones is for your bitch. You think you can just go around tasing my boys? We coming to get your ass.
They say they're part of a growing nationwide movement making the streets safer, but are they for real?
I'm Phoenix Jones.
In a world where the closest thing we have to Tony Stark is a fat South African drug addict, those who answer the call of justice will inherently be a bit unconventional. And that's exactly what Phoenix Jones and the Rain City superhero movement was. The year is 2009 in Seattle, Washington. Property theft and larceny were seeing a decline. However, violent crimes were experiencing an alarming uptick in frequency. This would be an issue anywhere in the world, but in Rain City, it was particularly dire. Rain City is potentially one of the most miserable places to live in the world. Its gloomy weather, high cost of living, and large homeless Fint zombie population has made any potentially positive living experience impossible. And so it's no surprise it's ranked as one of the most depressed and alcoholic metroplexes in the entire country. The citizens of Rain City were becoming more violent and, even worse, more alcoholic by the day. These individuals were no longer innocent bystanders. They were part of the problem and needed to be dealt with. Rain City needed a hero. Innocent civilians were being subjected to fat, drunk college kids, leaving garbage on the sidewalks and being really loud at night. This is when, at its most dire moment, from the shadows of Rain City, a hero emerged. On a drunken night out, these criminals might happen to notice a 6-foot-tall black man with a flat-top haircut and a cheap breakaway tuxedo standing atop the city's rooftops and fire escapes. No one knew his name, but they knew his face. He was that crazy black guy who chased drunk people in the middle of the night. But after 3 weeks of serving justice, he was nothing more than a laughingstock. I'm just running around in a freaking Boys to Men tuxedo looking stupid. To me, that was the scariest part, because no one thinks of me as a superhero. No one is taking me seriously. This is what mentally crazy people do. Eventually, the psychotic black guy in a tuxedo faded away, never to be seen again, and in his place, a new hero emerged. Phoenix Jones. Due to their secretive identities, we'll never know for sure if these were the same person. Equipped with a black and gold suit, estimated to cost up to $15,000, and a freaking sweet fedora, Phoenix Jones had one goal in mind: clean the streets of Rain City by beating up every single drunk guy he could find. Although, he couldn't keep the city of Rain safe with just his fists alone, so he brought along a tactical belt loaded with gear, a bulletproof vest, a stun baton, pepper spray, a grappling hook, and a net gun, the latter of which he accidentally misfired, catching himself in his own net, which temporarily immobilized him, allowing the unpunched drunk criminals to escape. Fortunately, the local police department showed up to save the superhero, who nearly drowned after falling face first into a shallow puddle of water. Despite the police officers laughing at him, Phoenix Jones was not deterred by their ridicule. He was doing what they lacked the courage to. Later that same night, Phoenix attempted to harass a homeless man on the street, who promptly pulled out a pocket knife and stabbed him. In a moment, his life flashed before his eyes, when all of a sudden, a massive boost of adrenaline, or perhaps some supernatural power, surged through his body, and he promptly overpowered and beat up the intoxicated homeless man. Shortly after, the same police officer who saved him from drowning in a small puddle of water returned to the scene. The officers were impressed with Phoenix's efforts and reassured him that he was on the right track. By the time I get to bleeding in my car, I'm ecstatic, because I'm not crazy. I've been out on the street for 6 months calling myself a superhero, running around in spandex, doing nothing. So getting stabbed to prove I'm not crazy, I'm about that. Best day of my life. Typically, getting stabbed by a homeless person would be a sign for anyone that they needed to reevaluate their lives. But for Phoenix, it was an omen, a sign that he could not rest until every single drunk person in Seattle was thoroughly dealt with. Phoenix began making headlines on local news, shining a light on his heroic deeds, such as dousing a man suspected of theft and an unnecessary amount of pepper spray, or stopping an intoxicated man from entering his car by threatening him with a stun gun.
Stay back. Stay away. I don't want to have to tase you.
But Phoenix was not the only real-life superhero. In fact, there was an entire group of real-life superheroes committed to harassing the drunk population of Seattle by any means necessary. The Rain City Superhero Movement, or RCSM for short, was built around Phoenix Jones, who served as the group's leader. But make no mistake, these weren't just a bunch of sidekicks hoping to get a few late punches in on some drunk people. They were bona fide superheroes. One of the earliest members went by the codename Red Dragon. While his true identity to this day is unknown, he supposedly had previously served in the United States Army and had 16 years of martial arts training. When his fists weren't doing the job, he occasionally resorted to the use of his bokken, a Japanese sword made of wood. According to him, he's only ever had to use his bokken once, revealing that his greatest weapon of all was his bulbous, throbbing brain. Red Dragon and Phoenix Jones routinely ventured out into the streets together. On one night in particular, the two attempted to intervene in a drug deal, which greatly upset two members of the group, who were supposedly carrying firearms. Luckily, Phoenix Jones and Red Dragon scared them off and saved the day like they always do. Another member of the RCSM goes by Blue Sparrow, with her iconic blue wig and blue mask. Blue Sparrow often joined Phoenix late at night on the hunt for drunk people, serving as the group's token Quirk Chungus. Blue enjoyed bacon posting on her personal blog, aptly named Delicious Bacon. She provides an introduction to herself and how she joined the Rain City superhero movement. Her and Phoenix had bonded over their shared affinity for comic books and superheroes. Initially hesitant to become a superhero herself, Phoenix eventually convinced her, although helping in part was her admitted interest in punching people. She explains she chose the name Blue Sparrow due to her appreciation of small birds. She mainly enjoyed swallows and wanted to call herself Swallow after the bird. However, Phoenix suggested against that, pointing out that the name might signal she had a particular affinity for putting penises in her mouth, so she settled for Sparrow instead. Someone who has been referred to as Robin to Phoenix Jones's Batman is a hero named Midnight Jack, a kickboxing instructor by day. By night, Midnight Jack would put on his Kevlar vest, equipped with a titanium six-pack, and roam the streets of Rain City, looking for injustice. There was no drunk person in the entire city strong enough to fight off his many gadgets, which included a pair of twin batons, noise bombs, and of course pepper spray. Before his life of fighting crime, Midnight Jack was a criminal himself. He was supposedly the prime suspect of over 50 robberies, but managed to evade all charges. However, the thrill of robbing innocent people wasn't doing it for him anymore, and so he put on the mask to begin his journey of righting all of his wrongs. According to Phoenix, Jack had been inspired by him and wished to follow in his footsteps. However, in his early days as a superhero, Jack would just go around assaulting random people with his nightsticks, which Phoenix claimed wasn't the right way to do things.
I didn't quite understand what I was doing, so he just gets a bunch of nightsticks and toys and goes and starts assaulting people in Lake City. And I realized that a lot of this is a misconception and misunderstanding that Jack is trying to be good. He doesn't understand how.
While Phoenix Jones was undoubtedly responsible for the creation of the Rain City superhero movement, the idea of real-life superheroes was not a foreign concept prior to its inception. It's possible he was inspired by a website called reallifesuperheroes.org, created all the way back in 2009, a year before Phoenix began patrolling the mean streets of Seattle. The website gives instructions and resources for prospective superheroes and teaches them how to do things such as making police reports, copywriting their likeness, and using grappling hooks. An entry on the Real Life Superheroes website reads, "We are real-life superheroes. We follow and uphold the law. We fight for what is right. We help those in need. We are role models. We will be positive and inspirational. We hold ourselves to a higher standard. Through our actions, we create a better, brighter tomorrow." But the origins of real-life superheroes managed to go back even further than 2009, dating back to the late 1980s, with heroes such as Captain Ozone. Captain Ozone, known by his Christian name William Fitzgerald Michael Ozone, is a time traveler sent from the distant year of 2039 to prevent the inevitable environmental collapse from his timeline. While his efforts of fighting crime boiled down to low-level social activism, there's no doubt that Captain Ozone has saved the world more than a few dozen times. The Rain City superhero movement was not even the first real-life superhero group. Around the same time Captain Ozone made his first debut, a fat Mexican man named Super Barrio Gomez began roaming the streets fighting crime in the Mexico City area. While he seldom resorted to violence, he mainly focused on advocating for tenant and worker rights, particularly in the wake of the 1985 Mexico City earthquake, which did over $5 billion of damage and took the lives of up to 45,000 people. Like-minded fat Mexican guys decided to join Super Barrio's cause, forming the Super Amigos a short while later. Notably, Super Barrio ran for president in the 1996 United States presidential election. However, he would unfortunately go on to lose in a landslide victory to the incumbent president and Democratic nominee William Jefferson Clinton. Perhaps Phoenix Jones was not the first real-life superhero, and it's clear that an Avengers-like crime-fighting organization was not a concept born of his own mind. But there was no denying that in the age of social media, he had transcended all his predecessors and became one of the most famous superheroes on the planet. However, every superhero is bound to face complications in their fight for justice, and Phoenix Jones was no different. On the night of October 9th, 2011, Phoenix was patrolling the streets as usual when he saw a group of drunk people dancing on the sidewalk. This was unacceptable, and Phoenix sprung into action. Accompanied by fellow RCSM member Ghost, Phoenix attempted to break up what he believed to be a fight and pepper sprayed a handful of people. Two of the women who were pepper sprayed began charging after Phoenix and swinging their purses at him. Eventually, the freshly pepper sprayed criminals attempted to flee the scene to prevent being attacked further. However, Phoenix was unsatisfied and wanted them to remain in the area and wait for the police to arrive, and so he chased after them. Phoenix and his crime-fighting squad continued to harass these people, who repeatedly requested to be left alone.
Walk away!
Phoenix's presence only continued to aggravate the drunk and pepper-sprayed individuals, causing them to once again retaliate, which prompted Phoenix to once again pepper-spray them. After some time, the police finally arrived, ultimately deciding to arrest Phoenix for 4 counts of assault due to his liberal use of pepper spray. Clearly, the criminals of Rain City had infiltrated the police department. He then spent 7 hours in jail before posting bail for $3,800. The arrest posed an even larger issue for Phoenix, as now his name would become public record due to the court hearings taking place. Left with no choice, Phoenix decided to reveal his true identity to the media.
I'm Phoenix Jones.
I'm just like everyone else. The only difference is that I decided to make a difference and stop crime in my neighborhood and my area. I intend to keep making that difference. The charges were false.
The man behind the mask was Ben Fodor, a name some may have recognized at the time for his career as an MMA fighter, which began back in December of 2006. Benjamin was born in Texas in 1988, where he lived for 9 years before being adopted by a family in Seattle. It was here that he would meet his eventual adopted brother, Carlos Fodor, who eventually became a professional UFC fighter, boasting a record of 11-6 throughout his career. Ben eventually married and had 2 children. However, everything changed when his car was broken into, and his young son subsequently fell into the broken glass and injured himself. Feeling helpless and unprotected, Ben realized he could take matters into his own hands, and thus he became Phoenix Jones. A notable detail also revealed was that his wife was fellow superhero Purple Rain. Despite his secret identity being revealed, Phoenix only became more beloved and well-known, not just in the city of Seattle, but all across the internet. In late 2012, Phoenix and Purple Rain announced they were backing then-incumbent President Barack Hussein Obama in the upcoming election. This endorsement was likely a key factor in him securing a second term. However, most emblematic of his rise in notoriety was a shout-out he received from world-renowned actor Rainn Wilson, best known for his role as Robert Fish Fishman in the 2008 film The Rocker.
Hey Seattle, how are ya? Thanks so much for joining Phoenix and Purple for this very worthwhile benefit. I love you guys. You are taking it to crime, both in and out of the home, and I applaud your efforts.
Phoenix didn't want all the glory for himself. Most important to him was the legacy he left behind. He hoped to inspire others to one day become superheroes themselves. This is likely why Phoenix went to the world's #1 source of information, Reddit, to answer questions and share his wealth of knowledge with the world. I am Phoenix Jones, real-life superhero and mutual combat veteran. Ask me anything. How do I become a superhero? Buy a suit, learn to fight, move to a secret apartment, beat up criminals, / arrest them, record all you exploits, and get a good lawyer. What's the most exciting thing about actually stopping a crime? I tackled a man shooting a gun and wrestled it out of his hands while recording on my iPhone. That was pretty epic. What made you want to take on the vigilante role and start the Rain City superhero movement? Not a vigilante, but the superhero role because criminals are going unchecked. Correct. They may not fear the police, but they fear being out on YouTube and not able to go anywhere without people recognizing them. What's the most scared you've been when out patrolling? And if you could have one superpower, what would it be? Would have control of metal so I could stop bullet. And the scariest moment ever was when I saw a woman get shot in the face and had to chase the shooter. Have there been any moments when you've had serious doubts about what you're doing? After I got shot the first time and woke up under a dumpster. Why do you type in all caps? But seriously, how do you manage running live feeds and stuff while you're fighting crime? It seems like it would be counterintuitive to what you're trying to do and just get in the way. I am such a skilled fighter that I really only need one hand. In the other I hold my live stream. Criminals are stupid and not talented. I only need 50% of my focus. Clearly, this guy knows what he's talking about. It was during this time that Phoenix was going on a full-blown media tour, making appearances on talk shows, podcasts, and even Fox News. Although not all were thrilled with Phoenix's commitment to stopping crime. A notable theme in every superhero story has been lacking so far in this one. That being an arch nemesis. What is a superhero without a super villain?
Hello and welcome.
My dear city, I can recall a time when I could leave this lair and conduct my duties proudly and without distraction. But now he's out there, along with his silly gang of misfit Power Rangers disturbing the peace. You won't find me hiding my identity, Jones. My name is Rex Velvet, the people's villain, if you will. Phoenix Jones, you have met your match.
Rex Velvet may seem intimidating, but in reality, he's actually some white guy named Ryan, who seems to be a failed actor. That's not to say that Phoenix didn't have real adversaries that posed a genuine threat to his safety, such as the YouTube account, I Hate Phoenix Jones.
Go.
Yeah, Phoenix Jones is for your bitch ass. You know what I'm saying? You think you can just go around tasing my boys, bitch ass? Fuck you, whore ass. Fuck you, fuck Red Dragon, fuck Thunder, bitch ass. We coming to get your ass, nigga. Told you, nigga, I got low up gangsters, nigga. I got my motherfucking bodyguard, nigga. I want you to come fuck with my gangsters, hoe. Fuck with my gangsters, bitch. Fuck that shit.
In a follow-up video, the masked black thugs revealed they had taken a hostage, provoking Phoenix to come save him so they could beat him up.
Don't take that. Yeah, Phoenix. Huh? Huh? People think you're a superhero or something? Think you just going out giving out Taco Bell to all the homeless people? What people don't know is that you came and took that Taco Bell from our boy. Let me go, bro. I got the little Taco Bell manager. Huh? I got Shut up, this. My man, come get me, man. Come get me. I want you to. How many Taco Bell managers let's get it? Huh? You ever been slapped with a chalupa? Huh? Phoenix, you don't want this. Huh? For anyone who brings Phoenix Jones, I'll get them 10 chalupas and Taco Bell. I got the Taco Bell managers. I'm tired of this, Phoenix. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. What's up? I'm tired of this.
According to this black man, Phoenix had been handing out stolen Taco Bell to homeless people, and one of the orders belonged to their friend. Understandably, he decided to kidnap the Taco Bell manager and continued to provoke Phoenix in subsequent uploads. In another video, the masked gangster revealed he had concocted a deadly poison to destroy Phoenix Jones.
Yeah, Phoenix, I done created something now. Huh? I got a new potion that's gonna turn the whole world against you. Huh? You don't wanna come out? Well, guess what? I'm gonna make the whole world come bring you out. Huh?
The thug then proceeded to force the potion down the Taco Bell manager's throat, causing him to begin convulsing and oozing goo from his mouth. In the final upload to the channel, the evil African-American man revealed that he had transformed the Taco Bell manager into one of his goons.
You didn't come get him, did you? You didn't come get him. Well, guess what? He one of my goons now, nigga. He one of my goons. Look at him. Look at him. Huh? Huh? He a gangster. He went from a Taco Bell.
Judging by the fact that these thugs never uploaded a video again, it's likely that Phoenix Jones found their location and dealt with him. It was clear that no man, no matter how drunk or how evil, could stop Phoenix Jones. At least, that's how it seemed. Because as it turns out, the only man strong enough to stop Phoenix Jones was himself. On Sunday, April 22, 2012, a 21-year-old named Nicole Westbrook had recently moved to Seattle with her boyfriend Brian. After a night of celebrating their first paycheck in their new city, they began walking back to their recently rented one-bedroom apartment. But as they began climbing the steps to their building, gunshots rang out from a white sedan passing by, striking Nicole. Nearby, Phoenix Jones was patrolling.
Gunshots! 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 Hey, where did it come from? That way, go that way. Hey, we got gunshots! We got gunshots!
Phoenix spotted the man and began chasing after him. However, a police officer commanded him to stop, and he complied. In regards to the situation, Phoenix said, "I'd love to blame the Seattle Police Department entirely. That would make me feel better, right? But when I saw the guy with a gun, I remember thinking, this is super terrifying. I wasn't running at full speed. When the cops stopped me, I felt kind of relieved. I thought he had a good idea. When he told me I couldn't go any further because there wasn't any backup, I got angry. But I was more happy to stop. I was nervous." Nicole was taken to a hospital where she was put on life support before she tragically passed away. Phoenix felt like a failure. He failed to protect Nicole, and he failed to bring her justice. And that night, something changed in him. A fire engine drives by and washes the blood off the sidewalk, and it runs down into the drain. I just kept sitting on the sidewalk. Another hour goes by, and people start walking by for work and to their normal everyday life. The world has completely changed. It really hit home for me. People don't understand. They don't get it. And they're not going to care unless I give them a reason to. After this moment, a notable change in Phoenix, as well as the broader Rain City superhero movement, began to take shape. Many members of the group had become disillusioned with Phoenix's leadership. One member in particular, Shockwave, abruptly chose to exit the group, issuing a long statement against the man in black and gold. Phoenix Jones is a con artist thief, stealing from his closest friends and fan, with zero integrity for his community. Shockwave went on to allege that Phoenix had borrowed his GoPro camera for over 9 months, before returning a completely separate and defective camera in its place. He also revealed that each team member had given Phoenix $87 to purchase bulletproof vests. However, the vests were never provided, and Phoenix seemingly took the money and ran. He also collected $10 a month from each member under the guise of insurance benefits that seemed to not exist. This was only the tip of the iceberg, however, as another prominent member, Purple Rain, had also left the group. As Phoenix's wife, she had acted as the de facto co-leader, but now she was gone. This was likely in relation to a recent breakup with Phoenix, which she announced on her Facebook page. More names began dropping off the roster, and eventually former members of the RCSM formed their own superhero organization, ECHO, which stands for Emerald City Superhero Organization. ECHO still operates to this day and features members like El Caballero, Red Ranger, Skyman, and Dragon, not to be confused with the aforementioned Red Dragon, who is red. Realizing there was nothing left for him, Phoenix made the painful decision to end the Rain City superhero movement. First off, I'm sorry I started fighting crime years ago and inspired a lot of people to do the same. I really thought that having a large group of civilian crime fighters was a good idea. I was wrong. It takes a certain type of person to do this job correctly. And unfortunately, I have inspired, worked with, and even taught some of the wrong kinds of people. As of today, Rain City superhero movement is over. I will not go into many details, but I feel you deserve a few reasons why we can no longer work together. Certain members cannot run 2.5 miles in 30 minutes, or do 5 pull-ups, or 25 sit-ups in 2 minor. Be live, it is okay to carry illegal weapons, or want to patrol with other superheroes that have a track record of making bad choices that are potential dangerous. I just can't in good conscience continue to put my seal of approve on people I feel are not loyal or properly trained. As always, be safe, make good choices, and I'll see you in the streets. Phoenix was far from finished fighting crime, however, and if anything, he needed to return to his roots and find what had made him whole once again. Of course, what better place to start than the local bars, where plenty of intoxicated people were begging to get beaten up.
All right, guys, nobody intervening? Please do. We're all calm.
All right, about to see mutual combat.
You got tackled!
Suspect is down. Mutual combat is over.
Some losers and haters argue that it is unethical for a fully sober MMA fighter to provoke intoxicated and untrained individuals to a fistfight. Well, maybe that guy in the orange shirt should have considered that before committing the cardinal sin of being drunk. Phoenix Jones, a once beloved superhero, was now being ostracized and persecuted by the population of Rain City. As a result, it seems Phoenix would become more disillusioned with fighting crime, opting to focus on his MMA career instead. However, his superhero persona was still a key part of his brand, exemplified in this post, where he announced he had suffered a grave misfortune while training for a fight. Hero tip: if your thighs can scissor choke a mean to death, always wear underwear on leg day, cause a pants blowout is bound to happen. Hashtag superhero problems. Although the name of Phoenix Jones has been relegated to promotional posters for his MMA fights, the broken mind of Ben Fodor was ever present. In 2019, Benjamin officially announced that he had retired from fighting crime and hung up his pepper spray and taser. A new career was on the horizon for him, however, that being selling drugs. On November 21st, 2019, an undercover Seattle police officer met up with Phoenix at a nearby Starbucks, where he purchased 7.1 grams of Molly for $500 from the once beloved superhero. Ben, who was none the wiser, was later arrested and faced multiple drug charges. Just like that, the man who once swore to fight crime wherever he saw it had become a criminal himself. I guess it's true what they say: you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Since then, subtle hints at his return to crime fighting have been made, dispersed in between long moments of complete silence. Perhaps these criminal tendencies were inside him all along, or maybe along the way, Phoenix became disillusioned with his efforts and simply broke bad. It can't be said for certain, but one thing that's undeniable is that drunk people still roam the streets to this day, and as long as they do, the world will wait with bated breath for the next Phoenix Jones.
必殺マジシリーズマジ殴り